Hello, Comm 300. My name is Victoria Gomez,
And I am Mihara Negrete.
and we are excited to talk to you about the psychological system of rhetoric.
So, our question is, what is the psychological system of rhetoric? The psychological system's exigence increase the sophistication of psychology and epistemology put together. It is audience-centered instead of rhetoric-centered, such as a grammatical system was. And pretty much the reason why the psychological system came about was because of so many drawbacks that the grammatical system had. For example, it was very oversimplified, it was rhetoric-centered, and also it was too formulaic. It was too formulaic in the sense that there were particular ways you had to develop your speech. And the bad thing about that was that you cannot particularly focus on one particular way because it wouldn't apply to every scenario and depending on the audience. So the psychological system was audience-centered and focused on how the audience perceived the message, what we could learn about the audience in order to better understand how they received messages. They wanted to know what happens when the words leave the speaker's mouth and go into the audience's mind and how they process the information or the message. Essentially, it was a more sophisticated way to understand the mind, which would be the psychological side of it, and why we think the way we think and come to know what we know, which is the epistemology side. The reason for an innovative turn in rhetoric was because science created new theories about the way humans gain knowledge. Its development came about in the 1700s and had a tremendous impact on rhetorical theory. Rhetorical theorists used new psychological theories to rethink their discipline. Some of the foundations for the new rhetorical theory came about in the Renaissance time. They recast the way philosophers talked about the human mind. An important fact to know is that René Descartes was one of the most profound thinkers in history and was the one that laid the groundwork for epistemology. So now Victoria is going to give you guys an example of how the psychological system is applied and how it intertwines with psychology and epistemology.
So an analogy that we can use in our present day, an example that we all have somewhat went through, is when we get some new furniture from IKEA or buy a fancy new TV or anything with the words assembly required, it comes with an instruction manual. This instruction manual gives us instructions on how we can put together this product that involves reading. Most of the time, many of us tend to put aside that instruction manual and try to continue to assemble it on our own accord. When we get stuck and when it doesn't come together, we usually resort to YouTube or Google to find videos on how to assemble it successfully. This is an example of how us as an audience of the product thinks and how we internalize the message that is given to us. By watching the videos, we internalize and we come together with the message, the language, and the intent for the product. This, combined with the audience, is an example of some elements that were created in the new era of rhetoric. These elements are audience-centered, focused on effect, proofs, management, and framing instead of inventing.
So, pretty much the audience-centered portion of it is that it focuses on the way the audience thinks and receives information.
Focus is focusing on the effect that it has on the audience. So we focus on the type of audience that we are speaking to.
And the proof would work in the sense that it was strategies that they would use.
The next two, management and framing instead of inventing, go hand in hand. Management is how you package things appropriately and how you present it. Framing is instead of inventing new ideas or perspectives or thoughts, you focus on the rhetoric and the way you're presenting it.
So now we're going to present our mnemonic device that you guys should remember. So, our mnemonic device is a fish punched my face. So just remember, when it comes to the time of the test, remember that a fish punched your face. So A would stand for audience-centered.
F for fish will be focusing on the effect.
And P, punched, would be proofs.
M for my is management.
And the F would be the face, framing instead of inventing, so face. So just remember next time when you see this question on the test is a fish punched your face.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you all do well.
And remember, a fish punched your face.